What's going on, Raider Nation, and welcome back to another episode of the Raider Critique. This is Volume 4 of the Jon Gruden Email Chronicles, and I have a very, very special guest, a guy that I've actually been looking to talk to ever since he started his own YouTube channel. Everybody, please welcome Murf from Raiders Fan Radio.
What's going on, brother?
How's it going, man? Long time no hear from. And well, we all know the question that I'm here to ask if you've been keeping up. What is going on with this Jon Gruden email thing? Now, I know that we've already had a lot happen since this, so I'm pretty sure that this is very far in the rear view mirror for us, but I would really like to get your opinion.
Yeah, it's kind of funny talking about it now because it feels like, so long ago, considering everything that's happened with, obviously the tragedy around Henry Ruggs and then now with this Damon Arnette thing that came up over the weekend and, the Raiders roller coaster of play on the field. And but anyways, yeah, so it's interesting to reflect back on it at this point because it's been a minute. It's funny that, in kind of today's society now online and things, we move on from things quick, right? Like something that's a really hot story one day will completely evaporate. Like you think back to in terms of the Gruden situation in particular, what happened right before that was Urban Meyer, right? And he was under all this controversy and all the headlines, and people were speculating on whether he would even make it to Thanksgiving in terms of being a coach of the Jaguars. And then the Gruden thing goes down, and everybody forgot about Herb. And everybody was talking about Gruden. And then, in our world, again, we moved on from Gruden and went to talking about Ruggs. And so anyways, it's been insane thinking back to it now. But I guess ultimately my thought on it now, and I know everything's kind of been debated, ad nauseum at this point, but clearly the man lost his job for the right reasons. You can't do what he did and have it be accepted and to be, the head of a large organization, an institution like the Raiders. Anytime that you take words and you weaponize them against people, it's never a good thing. This wasn't a cancel culture thing. This wasn't, because I'm the furthest guy from that whole idea of erasing people from whatever it is that they're doing because of something that they might have said. But when you weaponize words, when you attack somebody for their gender or their sexual preferences or the color of their skin or any physical characteristics or whatever it may be, anytime you weaponize against people, that's just wrong, and it always has been, and it always will be. So he definitely was dismissed for the right, or resigned allegedly, for the right reason. But yeah, so it left us with a lot to clean up, and I thought the Raiders moved on from it really, really fast, and was really impressed with the leadership that stepped up. Impressed with Mike Mayock. Impressed with him again today during his press conference about Arnette. Incredibly impressed with Coach Bisaccia and everybody involved in the organization, Olsen and of course Derek Carr and so anyways, it's been really impressive the way the Raiders have responded. And then, they showed though this last weekend that you can only deal with so much, right?
Yeah, and the way we laid an egg against the Giants, to me, it felt like that, this team is full of adversity, but there's got to be a breaking point somewhere. And the Henry Ruggs situation was definitely the breaking point. The team didn't even look mentally capable to play the game this last Sunday.
Yeah, they looked like, well, it was definitely reminiscent of the Bears game, right? Where they just kind of, and that was reminiscent of the game in 2017 when we had a divided locker room and we lost to the then Washington Redskins on prime time. And yeah, man, and so we'll see how they respond. And that's always what, when we lost to the Bears, that was our first comment, was like, okay, now let's see what they do next. Like, once it came out why they were off, then, it's like, okay, that's understandable. I get that, and we get that. Now, how are you going to respond to that? How are you going to move on from it? And I think that's where we're at now, that you're right. These guys are human, man, and so often we can deify them as fans and put them up on pedestals and, add at times additional importance maybe to things that they might say or do because of their job that they do. But and of course they're all highly talented individuals, but they're human beings, and they're not deities. They're not, immortal. They're not immune to human interactions and behaviors and things. And I'm not trying to be a name dropper, but to give you an example, we become friends with Will Compton, former linebacker for the Raiders. He lives not far from where we do, and we've gotten to know him and his crew over there with Bussin' with the Boys and all that stuff. Anyways, I was talking to him about, returning to the NFL, and at this point in his career, he's got a brand new wife, he's got a baby on the way, and he's considering location, and he's like I would turn down a job. So he wasn't isolating himself from playing somewhere, but he considers it highly on where that team might be. And that's one of the reasons that he loved playing for the Titans, is because this is where he lives. And so, that's the human side of this stuff that so much of the time it gets overlooked. And anyways, I said all that because, I think the human side of it caught up with him this week. And how could it not? When you look at the way that the unity in the locker room and the closeness of these groups, you could tell it was hurtful to Derek Carr.
Yes.
With what happened. It hurt him. It went beyond just I lost my number one target. It hurt him at a human level. And that's I think that's a testimony to the character of the team and to the quality of men that are in that locker room. But at the same time, I think it kept him and it put him in a way that, obviously something affected his game on Sunday, because he wasn't the Derek Carr we've seen all year long,
No, he wasn't. As a matter of fact, this is his first game where he has had multiple interceptions this year. And it was completely uncharacteristic of him. And you could just see it on the sideline in his face. He just wasn't mentally there. I don't think really anybody on the offense was really mentally there. The defense played the best game that they could possibly play. But us in the red zone with the offense, man, we just laid an egg.
Yeah, it was interesting that, going into this offseason, what's the number one thing that we have all talked about as fans is that we needed to, improve the defense. And we did this amazing, work in the offseason, of course, bringing on Gus Bradley and, Yannick Ngakoue and all the amazing, drafting Merrick. And, we did so many great things on defense, and it showed. And, now it's, in a game like you're like what you were saying is that was the high point, man. That was the strength of the team, and who'd have thunk that? But when you got external things going on, like what the Raiders have had to deal with, I think it's got them in the mentals a little bit, and that's okay. It's okay to have an off day. It's not okay to let it define your season. I think, and that's the difference, is that I tell my kids all the time, you're not defined by a particular thing that you might do, whether that be a mistake or otherwise, but you're defined on what you do about it. That's what defines our character as men. It defines our character as people in general, but in this term, and men on the field, and what they're going to do about it, and so we'll see. Derek had a bad game. He acknowledges he had a bad game. The coaches acknowledged that they had, a bad game. Mike Mayock today took it on the nose about Damon Arnette. I don't even think that was a Mayock call. I think that was a Jon Gruden call to ultimately draft him.
Right.
And Mike Mayock blamed himself. And so what do you do in response to that adversity? What do you do in response to that tough day at the office? We'll find out, because, look, man, we got to get it right. We got a Sunday night game against Kansas City I hate to put too much importance on one game, but, these are the kind of games that define our season. You lose an out-of-conference game on the road in the East Coast in MetLife, okay, yeah, it sucks because it was an L, but that's not going to define the season. You lose to Kansas City at home, that's a problem. You know what I mean?
That's a huge problem.
That's we need to snap out of it. We got to move on, and I know they will, and I trust they will, and I think we got the right, time heals, and I think they'll get it right. I think they're too good. They're too good of players. They're too good of coaches. It's too quality of an organization to let it spiral downward like we have seen in the past. I don't see the locker room going that way, because we've seen this happen.
Right.
It starts to go bad, and then it just keeps on going. I don't know. I don't think these guys are that. I think that we can come back from this, and I'm confident in them, and I guess that's part of the flaw of being a fan, right? You're just constantly confident.
Right.
You just want to see
It's
always
a,
see the light at the end of the tunnel, right?
Yeah, it's almost like the circle. You start having faith in the team, and then you fall apart about the team, but then you start believing again. And I do believe that Jon Gruden had a real big hand in the way that this team played after he was let go, because they were playing with a fire up underneath them, and they were going to make it to where they were going to prove a point and get out there. And even though that we have lost our coach, our head of command, that it wasn't going to detour us from the prize, which is playoffs. And then we get this Henry Ruggs situation. But back to Jon Gruden, I don't know on whether I expected this team to come back the way they did from such detrimental news that we got. I mean, for this team does not stand for anything Jon Gruden said. The fan base does not stand for anything Jon Gruden said. This is absolutely outside of character when it comes to being a Raider. I mean, we were the first team to employ Amy Trask. We were the first team to have an African-American head coach in Art Shell. I mean, we are the epitome of that culture of giving everybody an opportunity. And for Jon Gruden to do what he did, it really took the wind out of our sails, even though it might not have shown on the field. But then once that hit, then we had Henry Ruggs. And then we had Damon Arnette out there on Twitter flashing guns and everything. This is the kind of culture that we've been trying to get away from.
Yeah, and they responded appropriately. I mean, in all these occasions, and moving on from these folks. But the thing that's encouraging to me too about, again, it speaks to the quality of the organization. They move on from them in terms of their role with the team, but they haven't moved on from them as human beings. Derek Carr, when it came to the Jon Gruden thing, hate the sin, love the man. When it came to Henry Ruggs, again, reference Derek Carr, what did he say? I love Henry. I hope he reaches out to me. I'm here for him. I wish I could have done more. Today with Damon Arnette, Mike Mayock spoke to not only Damon Arnette, but he spoke to his father, and he told them, I think that he's got a good heart. I think that he can have a future in this league. It just isn't going to be with us today, and it's not going to be with the Raiders. So, they're not giving up on these people as human beings, and that's an important thing to do. And that's an important thing around the cancel culture world or that we can engage in, is that you're not moving on from these guys as humans. And let's not mix those things up. That like I blasted Damon Arnette on Twitter this week for what he did, and I got a lot of feedback from people and accusing me of that idea of wanting to quote cancel. I don't want to cancel him as a human being. I hope he gets his crap together. I'm rooting for the guy. You know what I mean? But I just what he did, considering the timing of it, you don't get to be a part of the team, dude. That doesn't, you know what I mean? So we definitely want to mix those things up. And I just want to applaud. I know we're getting close on time, but I just want to applaud the Raiders for all these three things that we've had to deal with over the past month now, or however long it's been. I just want to applaud the leadership, and again, that ability to, you have to make some tough decisions, but they don't abandon them as human beings, and so let's keep that in mind and use this stuff as, I always try to turn this stuff into teachable moments for my boys and for my family and my own life. What can I learn from it? And those are the kind of things, sometimes it gets bigger than football real quick, and from these kinds of things, I think we can look at these and try to understand what the teachable moments are for ourselves and for our families and close ones, apply it there, and then root like hell for the Raiders on Sunday, and hopefully we'll get our shit together.
Man, that is real good advice. So my next question actually is, and I hate to speculate, but I've been talking about it in these Jon Gruden email chronicles. Everything we know that he did was wrong. At least when it came to the emails and the say-so. But how come nobody else got in trouble for this? Washington football team was the ones under investigation, but not a single one of them, not even Dan Snyder, is being attacked for this. I mean, it was literally like everything was swept under the rug. Do you think Jack
Yeah,
Del Rio had something to do with this?
I don't know who's got. That's interesting, and I don't know if it'll ever come out. I would hope to see an expose or some kind of investigation. Heck, I mean, I would even. I hope I'm not getting too crazy here, but I would even support like a congressional investigation into this, the same way that they investigated baseball during the steroid era. When you look at the amount of cover-up that's gone on with this thing, yeah, Jon Gruden was, for whatever reason, and again, I'm not defending him by any means, because, as I said at the beginning, he lost his job, and he should have. But there's a lot more of this thing. There's a lot in there. First off, the people, when you're engaging in that kind of language, that's not a one-way conversation. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
You're not going to spout off that kind of language to somebody that's uncomfortable with it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
whoever he's exchanging these words with is probably returning fire along the same theme. And so that got covered up. But I think that when you look at, there was all of the accusations around not only the working conditions, but all the different sexual allegations and
Right.
involving cheerleaders and like all that kind of stuff. Then there's also, when you start looking at like Dan Snyder and who was working in that office at that time, they had ties back to local governments and entities around there. Like, this thing could have, and again, I'm not trying to get all crazy, and I'm not a conspiracy guy, but there is like the potential for like point shaving, like all kind. Like, I think there's something in there, whatever it is, whether it's on field, off the field, these sexual allegations, whatever they are. There's something in there that is so dark that would be such a black eye on the NFL. They're worried it might dethrone them as America's pastime. I think that it's that level of seriousness of something in there. What it is, I don't know. And again, I'm not the conspiracy guy, but otherwise, why are they working so hard to cover this stuff up? Why are they, out of 650,000 emails, there wasn't even a report filed? You can't tell me that Gruden was the only damn thing in there. There's something major, and we'll probably never know.
No,
because they would rather take the hit on the criticism of not releasing it than releasing whatever it is that's in there that could possibly, I don't know if you could take down the NFL, but you could hurt it. You could really hurt it. And so I think that's what it is. I think there's something like that in there. It's got to be.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it too. I think they're doing whatever they can to protect their own shield, which is the NFL, even if it means throwing our shield under the bus. And it just
absolutely. In the NFL, if you ever want to know why they make a decision, just follow the money. That's always what it comes down to with the NFL. Every single time.
Every single time. So yeah, to me, it seems like there is definitely some fuckery afoot. Because that's basically what happened is Jon Gruden was the fall guy. They decided not to do any more investigations after that into the Washington football team or anything. I mean, I'm pretty sure Jerry Jones has got to be in those emails also, and we all know how that guy is.
Yeah, they're all in there. I think all those guys are in there. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's just what people don't understand, especially ones who have not been watching football that long, is that this culture has been there a long time. It's finally coming about that it literally is there, and they don't want the brand canceled. And in this era, that's what they will do if those emails come out. So why not keep those emails hidden? Have the guy who was the ESPN analysis, who was known nationwide, take the fall. I mean, that's where I'm at with it, although I don't condone what he did. But I do believe that, hey, wrong place, wrong time, and definitely coaching the wrong team.
Absolutely.
Well, Murph, I do appreciate this phone call, man. I know that you've got to get going, and I hope to catch up with you a little bit later. I hope everything is good with all y'all over there in Tennessee, and man, hey, by the way, I did call into your show, so I should be on there Wednesday. We'll see.
Awesome. Good deal. Look forward to hearing your message, and yeah, man, appreciate you invite me to join you, and I'd be glad to do it again, man. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely, man. This has definitely been a lot of fun, and I can't wait to do this again.
Absolutely, brother. Sounds good.
All right, brother. You take care of yourself and enjoy your night.
Okay, you too, man. We'll see you.
All right,
Go
brother.
Raiders.
Go Raiders!